The 20th anniversary of Earth Day in 1990 brought a group of citizens together who were concerned about rampant pollution and a regional philosophy that the environment is expendable for jobs. All agreed that a person should not have to sacrifice health to provide for their family. Community meetings led to action and advocacy, which resulted in the county commission asking the GEC to provide technical assistance for the first of 4 Superfund sites. Education and outreach efforts were expanded to subsistence fishers with a focus on women of childbearing age and those living around Superfund sites. The GEC quickly grew in numbers of members, projects, and partners. The GEC is working for a clean environment and a healthy economy for all of coastal Georgia. The GEC's objective is threefold. First, in the short term, protect the most vulnerable people and environments through education, information, and technical assistance. Second, involve the affected communities in identifying problems and forming partnerships at the local, state, and federal levels to implement solutions. And third, protect public health, the coastal environment, and stimulate an economic recovery. Resources are needed to sustain a grassroots support with problem identification, exploration of solutions, and formation of partnerships. Important is staying the course for the years often needed for successful outcome. For example, campaigns like contaminated seafood awareness will be needed throughout the many years during which this health risk will threaten subsistence fishers. The GEC is successful because we help people and communities help themselves. The projects undertaken by the GEC have been identified as priorities by people at the local, state, and federal level. Most often, there's already a desire to resolve a problem, and the GEC assists in forming partnerships and presenting solutions. However, there are times when the GEC identifies and makes problems known through outreach, information, and education efforts. Through these methods, the attitudes and expectations of communities shift, contributing to the change that creates new, clean, economic opportunities. The GEC has attracted the attention of other communities and provided assistance in finding solutions for their unique environmental challenges. The GEC is effective because we start by clearly identifying the problem, creating reachable goals, and staying focused for as long as it takes. Our commitment has been key, but likewise, it's been the commitment of our members and supporters that have made it possible to stay the course and reach goals. For example, air permits on unregulated industry took 13 years. Appropriate and protective analytical methods took 12 years. Full implementation of the Contaminated Seafood Awareness Campaign took 8 years. Through these consistent, long-term efforts, we have earned our credibility at the local, state, and federal levels. The GEC tracks our success by setting goals. Our first goals involved air that met health-based standards, the stoppage of toxic waste released into our waterways, and the cleanup of hazardous sites. Once damage was brought under control, our focus shifted to recovery and restoration. Improving the quality of life in coastal Georgia has changed attitudes and expectations, which has increased ownership and public participation. For future generations, key measurements will be seafood that is safe to eat, an economy that is strong and sustainable, and an improving quality of life. The GEC identifies problems and forms partnerships with the schools, universities, and federal agencies needed to implement solutions. When we're forming these partnerships, we dispel the perception that an organization with environment in its name cannot bring diverse interests and skills together to implement solutions. For example, Contaminated Seafood Awareness brought local and state health departments, the University of Georgia, and the coastal resources and environmental protection together to implement an education and outreach program to reach minority and low-income subsistence fishers. The misconception that the environment is just plants and animals is also one the GEC works to dispel. Our environment is part of our culture, quality of life, and crucial to a vibrant economy. Reaching goals are a key measurement of GEC accomplishments. Success in having toxic waste removed from 3 schools, a daycare center, a park, were major accomplishments of ours. Obtaining air permits and a 90% reduction in air pollution was also a very significant accomplishment. But the greatest accomplishment is the change in attitudes and expectations of the people in coastal Georgia. We no longer hear, "That's the smell of money," or "jobs before the environment." There's now a better understanding that a clean environment is the basis of a healthy economy and key to the quality of life, our culture, and our economic future. Our success in reducing air pollution, closing irresponsible industries, and having toxic sites cleaned up has led to the false belief that health threats have been eliminated. For example, when a Superfund site was partly cleaned up and the warning signs removed, families and individuals began using the area for play and recreation. The GEC, in partnership with others, had a fence erected around the site and launched an educational campaign about the ongoing health threat. This resulted in the children and parents reposting the signs. Often, goals take many years to reach, during which time the health risks remain. Triage is unfortunately how we must currently utilize our limited resources. Additional support will bring long-term and consistent outreach to subsistence fishers and their families, who are at the greatest risk. Strengthening our ability to respond and document problems would help protect and restore coastal marshes and estuaries. Outreach to grades K through 12 would resume with additional resources. Until additional resources are available, our focus will remain on protecting children, women of childbearing age, and the families most at risk from our toxic legacy. Much more can be done to increase our ownership in the future of coastal Georgia through education, outreach, and participation. The marshes and estuary are a national treasure, and Georgia's 100-mile coast has the second largest amount of salt marsh in the United States. While we have made progress in slowing the destruction, and some progress has been made towards restoration and preservation, more can be done. Monitoring our salt marsh from the air is the most effective way to identify and document violations and areas in need of protection. On the ground, better response to violation reports and more basic monitoring of the vulnerable areas are needed.